Alright, quick video before the wind destroys my audio quality. So, can you have cheese and dairy on a ketogenic diet? Long story short, yes, of course, you can eat cheese and have dairy on a ketogenic diet. Now, a ketogenic diet is a diet that will get you in ketosis. It's a diet that is low enough in carbohydrate, that gives you sufficient protein, hopefully, unless you've been duped and been freaked out and you think that protein's bad and every bite of protein is going to kill you and turn into sugar. In which case I would suggest doing some research into gluconeogenesis, glucagon, and insulin's functions in the body and the delicate balance that these all help the body to achieve. Without gluconeogenesis, we would not be able to do ketosis. So, a ketogenic diet is a diet that is low in carbohydrates, that'll get you burning fat. Nowhere in the definition of keto, nowhere in any of the scientific literature on keto, will you find any stipulation that it is a diet that's low in carbohydrate, but doesn't contain cheese or dairy. There's nothing about cheese or dairy that can keep you from adapting to ketosis. All right? So, a ketogenic diet, of course, if you're doing a ketogenic diet for fat loss, cheese is really easy to overeat, right? Cheese, like if you've got a block of cheese there, and it's just so delicious, it's so calorie dense, one can very easily overeat cheese and block themselves from being able to burn enough body fat to get results, right? If it's a trigger food for you, if you can't keep it around, if you can't look at the cheese and not eat the cheese and eat all of the cheese, then perhaps the cheese is something you should keep out of your way until you rearrange your relationship with the food and are able to handle it. But there's nothing inherently bad about cheese. Now, if you're lactose intolerant, if you've got a major sensitivity to dairy, which there are a significant amount of people out there who've got sensitivities to dairy, then of course you're going to want to avoid dairy. But just because Jim or Jack or Jane or Jill are allergic to dairy, just because some people have sensitivities to dairy, doesn't mean that everybody must avoid it, right? If you're doing a ketogenic diet for fat loss, chances are, first of all, chances are you've probably been eating a subpar processed diet most of your life, right? Most of us have been spoon-fed an industrial waste processed food diet for most of our life. So a ketogenic diet for most people is a major improvement in food quality, right? Simply focusing on nutrient-dense whole foods, right? Not the store whole foods, but nutrient-dense, unrefined, unprocessed foods. Basically protein sources, meats, fats, and vegetables, right? You keep it to that, your diet's going to be much more nutrient-dense and much more healthy than your diet was before in most people. Now, the quality of cheese out there, like most of the dairy products out there, we all know, most of the dairy products out there is industrial waste products, right? I mean, these are RBGH injected, hormone injected cattle that are given loads of antibiotics to fatten them up, that are fed an inflammatory grain-based diet, right? So, I mean, most cheese, most dairy products out there are super low quality. So I completely understand where some people are coming from, wanting to avoid dairy altogether. Where we live, however, the place where we choose to live, and many other places in the world, where we live, we're able to source high-quality, raw cheeses, right? We can get high-quality, raw, organic, heavy whipping cream. It's just grass-fed cows here, right? Where we live in Ecuador, in the Andes, there's no economic incentive to use this industrial waste farming technique, to use these industrial, mass corporate-produced prepackaged foods. There's no reason for it. There's no economic incentive. So there's grass-fed cattle all around here. We can get A2 grass-fed cheese, grass-fed dairy. When I say A2, it brings to mind the fact that there are a lot of people who believe that A2 dairy is far better than type A1 cows. So Jersey cows and what's the other one? Brown Swiss cows are A2. They have more cream and they have less of a certain type of casein that can be very inflammatory and very reactive for many people, right? So a lot of people are super sensitive to dairy, but many of those people can handle A2 dairy, right? So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that you can't eat cheese on a ketogenic diet. That's absolutely untrue. You can eat cheese on keto. If you're trying to do keto for fat loss and cheese is a trigger food, you should avoid it, right? Avoid the triggers. It's about rearranging our relationship with food, nourishing the body, treating your vessel like your temple, filling it up with nutrient-dense food so that you can fill the rest of your life with meaningful activity. Right? A diet is not supposed to be something that's so restrictive, so stressful, so ridiculous that it becomes another stressor in your life, right? I mean, foods like cacao, like 100% cacao, super low in carbohydrate. Cheese, super low in carbohydrate. There's no reason to avoid cheese if you're not allergic to it. So if you're trying to do keto, keep it simple. Don't stress out about the food choices so much. Don't make it into something that's complicated, difficult, confusing, confounding, and frustrating. It's supposed to be the opposite of that. A ketogenic diet is simple. It is not complicated. It is not difficult to maintain long term, or I wouldn't be doing it. All right? It can be incredibly rewarding, and it can be really, really simple. So, don't overcomplicate it. You can have your cheese. Just eat it in moderation if it's a trigger food. And of course, you got to realize on a ketogenic diet, you can gain body fat, right? If you're trying to lose weight, the energy balance thing still applies. So, if you're eating way more food than the energy that you're throwing out there, the energy that you're burning, then you will store fat still. You can still store fat on keto. So people who are going nuts on the trigger foods and going nuts on the cheese, of course you're not going to lose body fat if you're overeating. So for some people, eliminating those trigger foods can be useful. Anyways, I hope this is helpful. I hope this simplifies it for you, and I hope this makes it a little bit easier for you to enjoy and thrive on a low-carbohydrate ketogenic diet, which is not super restrictive, which doesn't have to be eating disorder, orthorexic level crazy, right? It can be something that's awesome, that supports your system, that supports your body, so that you can enjoy your life and live it in a more fulfilling way. All right. So if you want more, check out primaledgehealth.com. If you like the material you see here, if you like the channel, if you want to support our work, check out our book, The Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low-carbohydrate, paleo, and ketogenic cuisine. I switched the order there, I think, the title. Anyways, my wife Jessica worked on this book for over a year and a half. It's amazing. She put a lot of work into it. She put a lot of little details that people forget can be super important, right? All the recipes are fat loss friendly. All of them are using ingredients that you can readily find no matter where you live. We live here in the middle of the Andes of Ecuador. If we can find it here, if we can source those foods here, you can get it wherever you're at. So we're not using a bunch of artificial sweeteners either. There's not a bunch of crazy artificial sweetener recipes and anything like that. It's all nutrient-dense, whole foods, and we call it a training manual because we mean it to be exactly that. A manual to train you how to master your keto kitchen. Because if you're going to stick to any diet long term, you have to understand and have a nice solid foundation in preparing your own foods. So check out the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook at primaledgehealth.com. It's available exclusively there. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Only primaledgehealth.com. Check out Ryder. Ryder's crawling. He's cruising. All right, I'm going to take off. I'll see you guys next time. primaledgehealth.com. Check out, here's Jessica right here. Oh, the lovely Jessica, the author of the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook. She wasn't planning on this, but anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Look how tall she is when I cower next to her. I'll see you guys next time. primaledgehealth.com. Check out Jessica's book, The Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for ketogenic, for low carb, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.